drawing 2 lines and then calling it a day. Give me my Maple Story. No, give me my Pokemon music so I can lock in. Anyways, I have a massive Kit Kat giveaway. No, I don't. I wish I did, though. I don't. I do not have a Kit Kat giveaway. Door giveaway? No, I don't. No, no, no. No, don't poggo me. What a fucked up day I had. I was told to come in at like 7:30 a.m. to the thing I was scheduled to do. And I come in at 8:30 a.m. I woke up at 7, by the way. And I come in at 8:30 and they look at me all confused. They're like, "Why are you here?" And I'm like, "I was told to come here at this time." And they're like, "Girl, it's not until 1:30 p.m. So then I just killed myself in front of them. And then slowly my pieces of fleshes of a mass merged together and reformed, and I came back to life at 1:30. Thanks, impending agony. So you want me to die? Is that? Well, I went to a cafe and then I finished reading that book, which almost made me cry, by the way. Oh my god, there was some fucking drama in the book too. It was crazy. It was straight up. I was like, and then well, I don't want to spoil. I mean, who cares if I spoil it? It's kind of a memoir, anyways. The author of that book, who I accidentally keep calling Jane because I'm a fucking idiot, which is why I keep like, I would post on my Instagram story like, "Oh, this story by Jane Heinrich is so good," and I'm like, "Oh shit!" 2 hours later, I realized I spelled her name wrong, so then I would delete the post and be like, "Fuck, it's Jill. It's not Jane." Anyways, she basically talks about her experience with cave diving, and then she has her personal life sprinkled in and how it affected her cave diving and whatnot. And you were just about to turn that page. Well, no, I guess you don't have to turn it anymore. And she talks about how she met her husband, Paul Heinrich, and they were she had a crush on him. They went diving together. They did a lot of expeditions and exploration and like underwater cave mapping and stuff. They finally confessed their love to each other, and she also helped co-parent his kid because he had a kid from a previous marriage. And then in the book, oh honey, and then in the book, there's like incidents where you realize, oh, this guy is stinky. That's where the drama comes in. And there was one point where she like got the bends basically, and her joints were fucking up. She got decompression sickness basically because don't exactly know what happened. Like, she followed all the procedures, still happened. She had to go in a recompression chamber and everything. When she came out of the water and she told her husband, and she was like, "Hey, I think I have the bends." You know what his response was? He said, "No shit, Sherlock," to her, and then just kind of like was super cold and mostly kind of ignored her, and she spent most of her recovery by herself. He did go to visit her eventually, but then that was like one of the incidents where she talked about how he was like distant, and then they were falling out of love in the marriage, and then they divorced. And then I was like, yeah. Cause I was like, dude, how are you gonna leave your wife in the decompression chamber if she has the bends and you're not even caring about her? On the descent, on the ascent, when she realized that she had the bends and she had to like go back up, he just was not there. Like, he didn't really give a fuck, basically. And I was like, that's a huge red flag. But I was like, oh my god. Divorce, girl, divorce. But I think she's very happily married to another man now. Divorce babes à la poubelle. Scuba vlog when? I mean, I can try. I think I should, next time I take another certification class, I think I'm gonna ask them if I can record parts of it. Or they can help me record it. Fucking divorce, kill that guy! Yeah, the book starts off by her like kind of having this crush on him, and he's like really cool because he's really good at diving and everything. And then in the middle to late part of the book, they start diving together a lot, and they're like, I think they're like married for years or together for years by then, and he starts getting like really cold and distant and kind of like uncaring about her even when she's in serious issues, like when she has something serious going on. I was like, girl, that sounds like divorce. And then she did, and I was like, okay, slay. Okay, mamas. There was another part that that had me kind of gag. Was I love that we're just like making fun of this dude on stream about this person's husband. I wonder if he's mad about that. That how she wrote about him. It's not bad. It's just like, I think if you're a girl and you're reading through this, you're like, this man is no. Wait, there was another point where they're like going through one of the caves exploring together, and then he would yell at her if she went too fast, even though she would stop and wait for him. He would literally yell at her through his rebreather, like rage yelling that she didn't want to dive with him anymore. I was like, this guy sounds like a bitch. Sorry, no offense. Full offense, actually. He sounds like a bitch. Yeah, fuck that guy. Oh yeah, I gotta update the book list. And then I do have stories about the kids. Kids are so fucking funny. Oh my god. Holy shit. They are so unintentionally funny. And then I'll get more Pokemon boxes on Wednesday. Yo, kids are really funny as long as they're not like yours to take care of. But excuse me. One thing that happened was like there was this kid that was like, he was banging on the window, and then one of the staff was like, "What are you doing?" And then he stops, turns around, and goes, "I don't know." And then he walks over to like this wall and just starts getting really quiet and stopped playing and just kind of leaned against the wall, looked really sad, and then a single tear rolled down his eye. And then the staff that told him that earlier asked him, "What are you doing?" He was like, "Are you okay?" He's like, it looked like this. It's the... No, he looked like this. With the tear, with one tear coming down, and it was because he was asked to stop banging on the window. He wasn't even asked to stop. The staff was like, "What are you doing?" Because he was like, "Dong, dong, dong." I think the hardest part when you working with kids, knowing that, is you're not supposed to laugh, because if they see you laughing, they're gonna be like, you know, they're gonna be weird about it, or they won't react appropriately if they see you laughing. They're like, "Oh, it's not serious." But that, oh man, I can understand. I can see why people think kids are so funny. Yeah, you have to be like, "Okay, we don't bang on the windows." And then I saw this story that someone wrote about, they were a elementary school teacher or something, and then they were there were like two kids who were arguing, and one of them goes up to the teacher and goes like, "Oh, she called me a bad word. You're not supposed to say the F word. It's a really bad word." And then the other kid goes, "I didn't say the F word. Motherfucker doesn't start with F." And then the teacher had to like not burst out laughing and be like, "Hey, we don't use this kind of language, you know, blah, 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 blah." Oh my god, kids are so fucking funny. Yeah, oh, I would not. I don't know if I would stop myself from bursting out laughing. When I play Speed, I don't know how he. Oh. This just, I was just, a volunteer staff to, like, supervise the kids, basically, and make sure they're okay, not being weird. They didn't have that much to do, but then they also have tutoring, and I think when they do have homework, because it's spring break right now, but then when they do have homework, then I can help with tutoring. Which I got really excited about, not gonna lie, because I'm like, okay, I'm a lot better at that than, like, I don't really want to play capture the flag with kids or dodgeball. I will pummel them. So I prefer to do the more studious stuff, or like if they need help with like computer or like art stuff. But they don't really have homework right now. Oh, you know I'm gonna do the and then the senior staff are gonna be like, if you can dodge wrenches, you can dodge anything. But yeah, the kids were really, really funny. I didn't swear at all. My language was really good. I didn't even say God. I said gosh and goodness. I was like, oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was good. That was the one thing I was concerned about, was I'm gonna accidentally say fuck. But, oh man. Okay, good. This is good. This is good practice. Oh goodness. Oh my gosh. And then I was watching this other kid play Mario Kart, and I was just hyping her up. Yeah, I was like, go, go, get him. Jiminy Cricket! Oh my god, Jiminy Cricket, Lemony Snicket. 2 times 9 is what? I actually didn't hear a single 6-7 uttered. I didn't hear any 6-7s. But, I can, let me just say, I completely understand when girls say, when you see a guy and he's good with kids and it's like the sweetest thing ever. I definitely see that. Because one of the senior staff that was kind of like explaining what's happening, and he was just like funny and good with the kids, and then they all really liked him, and you can tell. And then I thought, like, dude, if I was a kid, that would probably be my favorite staff. I get it. I see it. I see it. I forgot to announce on Discord. Oh, sorry. It's because I'm touching so much grass that I have naturally begun to distance from everything online. Sorry, I'm just touching so much grass and doing so many things and not being online and touching grass and doing everything and like not being with you disgusting online degenerates and like being a part of society and community and doing something productive. I actually would really be down to help with the tutoring and homework when they have school again. And just live in the library or something. Full of protein! Teach them economics. I'm sure they already know economics. You know, it's the economics of who gets to play on the Switch and the PS4 or whatever. Yeah, it's spring break! When you're an adult, you don't give a fuck about any of that, and then you just see children just spawn en masse. There's this little girl, she was like, I got homework, but it's optional. And I was like, well, are you gonna do it? And she's like, no. And I was like, that's right. If it's optional, you don't need to do it. Bad influence. No kid's gonna do that shit. Are you kidding me? If it's not for extra credit, hell no. And then she had this, she had, I don't know, kids are just like, they just live in such a, like, this is every generation of kids. They're just like such an interesting ecosystem of a bubble that adults will never understand. She had this giant cube that was squishy, and she just played with it and just squished it. And then she let me play with it. And it's like this big. It's just a gelatinous cube. And she carried it everywhere with her. The kids are so fucking funny. Nido? Is it a Nido? I don't know. It was called like... Oh yeah, it was! It was called like Ice Nido or something. It was called like an icy... It was blue, I remember. It was funny. Nidos? Oh yeah, is that what it is? Yeah. And then she was telling me about how she got a turtle, and then her brother kept dropping it, and then I was like, and then she's like, but he caught it, and I was like, did you name your turtle? And she was like, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. God, they're so fucking funny. They're just such like creatures. She gets the off-brand version. Oh yeah, that's some shit my dad would do. And then they actually had like video game systems for the kids and stuff. And one of the senior staff was like, yeah, I want to get them more games, but then they're really strict about what games they approve. Because he really wanted to get them Breath of the Wild and stuff, and I was like, wait, that'd be a really good game to get them. But then apparently he would have to do a whole presentation to convince them that it's okay for the kids. But then it was really funny because when we were just sitting down, he was kind of explaining what they have. He was like, have you heard of Elden Ring? And I'm like, no way, you're trying to get Elden Ring to some 6-year-old kids, bro. And I just burst out laughing. But then he was like, no. He was like, no, I just want to like introduce them to gaming. Obviously not Elden Ring, but like Breath of the Wild or something. I was like, no way these kids are fucking learning how to iframe roll some dude that stabs himself. Or I don't fucking know. Yeah, I was like, Tears of the Kingdom is actually such a good kids game. But I don't know, apparently they're really strict. And oh my god, and then oh my, there's so many things to, oh man, life is so happy and good. Come on, little Billy, you have to dodge the waterfowl dance. Like, I mean, kids that are into gaming are pretty cracked. They're really, really good. Assuming that they are good. Like, that they played and they have some exposure to it. Personally, I'm actually really excited for the school year to start. And then I can go hang out in the computer lab or library and help with tutoring. Hey, they apparently they also fiend for Pokemon cards. But they're kids, which means I can give them the shitty cards. And they'll be fucking hyped about it. You used to be good at COD, you're gay now. Oh! You're getting dive survey? How is the process? Well, are you doing it in cold water or warm water? It's very straightforward, it's easy. But obviously, if you have a really good instructor, then it's a lot more streamlined. I had a really, really good instructor. No, I'm not an educator. I don't even work for them. Warm water? Oh, easy then. It's harder in cold water. They should call you Mr. Batman because you wore a Batman shirt. That's funny. I mean, kids are just funny little beings. I might go to Malaysia. I got invited to do like some diving thing there. Or like I mean, even if that doesn't work out, I'm still gonna go anyways. But I think I should definitely like figure out if I'm gonna go with someone. And then get a couple more dives in before then, and then diving in warm water would be nice. But yeah, I won't be able to stream. It's humid. Oh, thank God. I looked on the inside of my nose and it's completely split open. Like the skin inside is open. It's like it looks like somebody cut inside my nose and peeled the skin back, and there's like a gash on both sides of my nose because of how dry it is. I think it ever since I was in the ocean, the salt water really fucked up my sinuses because I have like really dry, sensitive nose. And then with the added extra of dryness because the AC is on because it gets really hot, it's like splitting open. So at night I apply Aquaphor and just sleep with that on, but it still hurts. Ouch! Yeah, I have a humidifier. Definitely helps. Ouching. The Zelda's vinyl heads up. Oh yeah, if you guys didn't see, Zelda Breath of the Wild I think it's like the first time Nintendo is releasing an official vinyl collection outside of of Japan. They have the Breath of the Wild official vinyl set. It's up for pre-order right now. If you don't get it now, you'll regret it because it will not be available. I guarantee you that shit will be like giga sold out. That's what happens with vinyls. They also have a smaller set if you don't want to buy like the $180 one. Yeah, and it's gonna be scalped. I feel like that's a really, really good gift for anybody that if you're not getting it for yourself, or anybody that likes Breath of the Wild, that's like fucking perfecto. How limited are they? They're not limited. It's just like I don't think they make more after the first run. They very rarely do. Because the demand for vinyl is not that high. It's kind of niche. And usually what happens with like the Silent Hill vinyls or like Elden Ring vinyls is after the initial run, it's just gone. They don't stock it anymore. Yeah, so right now it's on pre-order. If you get it now, you'll definitely get it. And it ships out in June. Usually, it's like pre-orders can take, I know for Expedition 33, that shit took like a year to come in. But 3 months is not that bad. Is it? I think it ships out June or July. Which is not bad. At all. But that shit, the moment it's like actually out and no longer pre-ordered, they are not going to stock it for sure. I'm like 100% sure they will not. And then I have to sell more rugs so I can fund more hobbies. Oh my god! I'm still lying when people ask me what I do. I've defaulted to saying I kind of do freelance art, which I think they probably... I mean, I don't know what kind of assumptions you would make about that, but me personally, I would assume they're broke. But then everywhere I go, I pull up in a massive black SUV, so I wonder if they have any, like, suspicions about that. Yeah, it's, like, not entirely a lie, but it's, like, kind of a lie. It's not being entirely forthcoming. Hiding power level. Or they assume I come from money. Yeah, maybe, probably. They'll be like, oh, you want a job with us? And I'd be like, no, not really. Oh, so you want to keep coming, but like you don't want to get paid? Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'm good. So what's the catch? There's no catch. I'd just be showing up. That's weird. That's suspicious. Can you just say I'm an artist? That's what I do. I say that. Oh my god. Okay, now that I think about it, there was two times where I have said that instead of saying like, oh, I'm a streamer, content creator, or whatever. I have said that I'm an artist, and then I don't think they don't mean it in that way, but it does come out. They'd be like, oh yeah, it's really fun if you're also like making money from it. Actually, no, that happened 3 times. Where they say, oh, that's really good. Like if you're having fun and also making money from it, like they mention like the money thing because I think it's like a subconscious bias that a lot of freelance artists are not like, you know, they're not like swimming in dough. Thanks I Kiss and Carrot Sprout. Hope you're well, Carrot, and thanks Mochi Mini. But I'm just like, I don't need to clarify anything. It's fine. We're good. Just act super pretentious. About what? Do I just start speaking in a French accent? Most awkward conversation I had when I mentioned my job? I've never had an awkward conversation about my job, mostly because I'm not an awkward person. I'm like, it's very easy to be charismatic about it, especially if there's like a quirk of the topic. I never find it awkward. I just prefer not to talk about it because it's just so, it's a very, like, different realm from what people who aren't online are used to. And then it has so much of, like, There's just a lot of connotations too, because people also don't really know what it's like. So I don't even want to get into all that. But there was a funny time that when my dentist was asking me about it, and he was like, "Oh, so you play video games? Like, do you?" It always goes like, "Do you play one game? Do you play multiple games? Do you like the games you're playing? Do you just play anything you want?" Oh, my kids play games. They play like Roblox or something. Do you know Roblox? And that's how it always goes. Things Raffy short, and I'm like, no, I don't know Roblox. Bye bye. Tell them how I got banned for cursing a child. For the record, I did not curse at the child. I cursed the child, like I was casting a spell. And then it was apparently like really scary and not acceptable by community guideline standards. Yeah, and then the kid made a said BMI check, and I was like, girl, you got things to worry about if you're typing that kind of shit. Yeah. Which reminds me, I mean, I've told this story before, but you really never know what kind of crazy demon somebody has. This was like 5 years ago or so when I was getting hounded by K-pop stans for some stupid shit. One of the girls who like, even months after the incident, would constantly like be under my post saying, just like basically trying to instigate and like say shit and get really mad. And I went on their profile and they had made multiple accounts, by the way, because I would notice that, oh, this person keeps commenting. One thing that the accounts had in common, and how I knew it was the same person, they were consistently on ED Twitter. And the retweets and stuff was all about like throwing up, eating less. And it's just crazy that in the parallels of that, they were also stalking my account and going like, you should kill yourself, you bitch, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, girl, I think you got bigger things to worry about than telling this random girl that played Cookie Run at a concert to die. Like, you gotta take care of yourself. No, eating disorder Twitter, not erectile dysfunction. I was like, girl, are you okay? That girl, chicken and beef together? But yeah, now every time, like, well, not every time, but it just puts in a lot of perspective of the kind of shit people are spewing, and then at the same time don't even, they don't really have this kind of like grounded reality of what's going on with their life to just be so weird and aggressive to somebody else that they don't even know. That looks nice. I mean, a lot of people make it a full-time job to be miserable online, which is definitely one of the ways to spend your life, I suppose. I don't think that's good for you, but good luck. They don't see how weird it is? No, they don't, because it's so normalized, exactly. That, like, it's all they've known and it's all they interact with. Elon pays them for that now, but there's also there also is kind of a difference between somebody who's like rage baiting for money, for impressions, and farming for that, versus someone who's like genuinely miserable and then always spends all of their online moments on like negativity. Because one is at least somebody, I guess, like in some way, in a fucked up way of looking at it, is at least they have some capitalistic ventures of harnessing this bitter energy online for some return in the form of money, versus somebody that's just like being miserable and not even getting paid for it, being like a full-time unemployed misery farmer. At least you got an employed misery farmer versus unemployed misery farmer, with the context of like being employed for the misery specifically. You had two 50-year-olds in your DMs calling you fat because you made fun of a manosphere. That's so funny. You can't imagine being that miserable? Yeah, it's because you have things that ground you to reality outside of being in a toxic bubble online. Charge my phone. So I have to figure something out. People doing it for women are not into it as people that are genuinely are not as into it. Yeah, that's true, but I still think there's a stink. There's still a stink for people that like do that. It's still nasty. Nasty business. Even worse, advocating against your own interests. Yeah, that's just the good old, that's the good old LARPing. It's a discussion about people who make it a full-time job being miserable online. With or without payment. That sounds awful. Yeah, you would think. When you engage in rage bait content, it actually activates the part of your brain that kind of controls anger and makes it even more sensitive to it. So when you're constantly activating it, it makes you even more sensitive to things that would generally make people angry. So not only does seeing something angry make you angry, seeing something angry regularly to make you angry makes you even more angry seeing things that make you normal angry. Basically, you get like a fucking passive buff for being extra angry. That's why Twitter's so negative all the time? Yeah, because a lot of people have made it a way to be angry about something that they don't need to be, because that's specifically the kind of perspective that they're poisoned by. It's like the girl that had her boyfriend gave her a wand with his credit card attached, and then she would just tap it and go on a shopping spree, and there were people going like, this is pedophilia, this is infantilization, even though she's like wearing a miniskirt and like designer bag and designer outfits. Like, you really went out of your way to make this the worst thing that it could possibly and be interpreted as, just so you could shit on it. Which is how a lot of people on Twitter operate. But there's a lot of people that don't operate like that. But the nice thing about this is you can literally just step away. You see that shit online, you step away and you're like, oh, I think I'm just gonna go treat myself to a nice chocolate donut. And then you go treat yourself to a nice chocolate donut. The bad part is when you can't walk away, is when people with that attitude start to bleed into real life, and you notice that this is like in your friends and your colleagues, and they're always negative and they're always like, have something to say about somebody. That's when it gets really fucking stinky. Thanks, Dante's. IRL stream in Atlantis where I find a hot, sexy merman. Let me just perceive this in the worst way possible, literally. Which is why, again, what I call the Pokimane litmus test. Ask somebody who is aware of the Twitch culture and circle what they think about Pokimane. She is a really good litmus test for asking whether or not somebody has a good judgment and are overall not extremely pessimistic and interpret streamers in bad faith with a side of misogyny. She's a horrible person because her cookies are expensive. Ah! Yeah, I think when people are really weird about her, it says a lot, especially when you ask them very specifically, and I've had some people show up in this chat that are like, she's not a good person, I don't think she's someone you should look up to, when I was like, actually, I think she has some really good insight. Literally happened, this is what happened, I was like, I think about these words that Iman says a lot, where she said, it was actually during the time of the blue light thing, and she was like, one of the things that she learned was you don't get mad at people who are not there for you, but rather you redirect that energy to have extra love for the people that were there for you. Because otherwise, to extrapolate that, it's like you can choose to either be happy about the people who were there for you, or choose to have bitterness and resentment for people that you expected to be there for you but weren't. And I was like, that's a really good outlook and a really nice mindset. Yeah, and I mentioned that a lot. And then as I was talking about that, someone was like, I don't think Poki's the kind of person you should be looking up to. And I'm like, wait, could you explain to me why? And then they were like, well, her cookies were expensive and she made fun of poor people. And I was like, okay, realistically, do you think she's somebody who goes out of her way to like spit on homeless people? Like, the way that people talk about the joke that she made, which understandably can be distasteful, they make it seem like she goes out of her way to like pee on homeless people, which is not. Yeah, it was a joke where she was like, someone was complaining about the price, and she's like, if you're a broke boy, just say so. Which is like a very diva thing to say, but she is very nice. She's been very generous. She has done tons of gifts and giveaways, like no strings attached, no ads, literally just doing it for the sake of doing it. But when you point out these contradictions to somebody who has a really big negative view of her for that joke, you're like, hey, actually, she doesn't hate poor people. She has given back to her community and given back to the less fortunate multiple times. They would then say, no, she does hate poor people because everything she does is performative. I don't care that it directly contradicts as something I think. It's that you're wrong and that everything that you have said about her, everything that she does is wrong and only my perception of her is right. So then you ask someone like this who thinks so negatively and chooses to interpret everything the worst way out of, in every possible way, is you ask them, so did you think that she was purposely making her brother's wedding about her, or did you choose to interpret it that way? It's always they choose to interpret it that way. Yeah, she had like a whole college scholarship thing. But do they acknowledge that? No. They just fixate on the, but she made fun of poor people by saying, if you're a broke boy, just say so. It's just, didn't she beat my ass outside of Walmart? Yeah. But that's fine. Like, that's not a big deal. Yeah, they acknowledge what validates what the bitterness and veiled misogyny that they already feel. Because when I think of what like the people perceive as the worst female streamer, a lot of them will say something like Ray or Pokey or something. And then when I think of the worst male streamer, like I'm thinking like what the general consensus is genuinely there would be a lot of people that say Pokimane is like the worst female streamer ever, right? But then when I think of the worst male streamer, it's like child porn, sexual assault, sexual harassment, rape, pedophilia. I'm like, yeah, it's like, yeah, it feels very, it's just very strange to see people hold female streamers at on a light, like in a way that they, with so much scrutiny and hatred, the way that people would hold like a pedophile in the streamer space, basically. Like the vitriol is crazy. Every thumbnail you see of the most hated streamers ever, Poke has like 3 actual creeps. I have seen it like in my life. I don't even go out of my way to find this shit, and I think if you watch this kind of content, you have to be severely brain rotted. Like, I think in the past 5 years, I've seen maybe like at least on 5 separate occasions of people making thumbnails and videos going like, the downfall of Pokimane, why her career is over, blah blah, and like nothing has happened to the girl. Like fucking nothing. What are they, I don't even know what they're talking about. They just like make shit up, and then I don't fucking understand. It's just, it's crazy. The downfall, the cancellation. Which, then again, those are the people that are like rage baiting drama farming, right? But I also think if you watch this kind of content, you are probably really nasty. Probably very stinky. Because a lot of this sentiment of like having a really weird snarky attitude on content creators that you don't know, especially people that are like not overtly problematic to the point that to this level, having this kind of vitriol towards them is just so insanely disproportionate. It's very, very weird. I think generally, people that participate in this kind of snark content and to a degree, people that participate in snark subreddits and forums are not unlike the rancidity of 4chan and certain other forums that like dox people and stuff. I think in a way they think that just because they're not specifically on the sites like 4chan that they think they're better than them. But they're participating in the exact same kind of cadence and discussion and hyper-analyzation of people that do not deserve this level of scrutiny. But then they would go out of their way and say, but we're keeping these people accountable. No, you're not. You really just wanted a space to talk as much shit as you wanted. Yeah, I really don't think it's like I think it's so incredibly unhealthy to participate in these snark forums. It's really, really weird. And I see like the Taylor Swift one pop up every now and then. I had to mute it because it kept popping up. And I'm like, hey, I don't listen to her music. I don't really care. I don't like her. I just don't care. I just don't engage. I don't interact with it. I don't look at it. I don't like read this stuff. But then when you go out of your way to participate and read it, it makes you such a bitter and negative person that you probably don't even realize because you think it's so normal. And then to extend that to like people will be having this shit on like streamers that get like 500 viewers. Like, are you okay? This is really weird. This is not normal. Yeah, Travis and Taylor, I muted it. It was really weird. They would say shit like, look how horrible she looks. And it would get thousands of upvotes and it would just be like an unflattering shot of her like mid performance at a concert or whatever. And I'm just like, these are grown ass people making fun of a still frame of her mid talking and like dancing. I'm like, this is not normal. This is really, really weird and not okay. Very weird. Yeah, anybody, I would say anybody, like, if you know a friend, you know anybody that participates in this kind of snark stuff or they read that shit, just be careful. Ugh. I would be very, very careful about the attitudes they have, the perception, and the overall bitterness and negativity that they're going to exude, regardless of whether or not it's about the person in question that they're snarking. It's very, very, very stinky. Oh my god, I set my alarm to wake up. Oh. She didn't kill him. No, I didn't. It's also so incredibly easy to just make up fake stuff. Yeah, this is what tabloid journalism is now. Tabloid journalism, which by the way, I'm really shocked that people haven't seen any parallels to this. The kind of like tabloid journalism that would literally ruin celebrities' lives with insane paparazzi, invasive questions, like just horrible interviews. Just completely engulfing a celebrity life. And having just god-awful magazines publish about them, just making up rumors or whatever. The modern day equivalent of that is these like Reddit forums, like just people just making shit up and just going crazy with it. I mean, like what happened with Kaede and John, happened with Chappelle Roan. But I would say Chappelle Roan is like way bigger profile. You see that happen with a lot of streamers, especially women streamers, female streamers, because they all, not only do they have extra scrutiny, they attract the extra audience of incels that just hate women. But I think it's even more disappointing when it's actually not incels. When it's, for example, like, other girls hating on other girls, and it's just like, people that have been so severely deluded by what they think is a normal way to talk about somebody, that they just go crazy. It's just, it's so weird. Yeah, Chappelle Roan sacrificed that child to her bodyguard. And then it turns out it wasn't even her bodyguard. Social media is slander to be because it's anonymous. Yeah, if people just make stuff up and then somebody will read it and just believe it. Because that's how stupid a lot of people are. Like, just pure stupidity. Is that when you already have a prejudice that you feel towards a streamer you don't like, you look up their name, oh, first Reddit result, a Reddit forum talking about how they killed a whole family of 4. Completely anecdotal. No proof anywhere, or even if there is proof, interpreted in the worst way possible. Don't ask for any context, but you're just like, okay, yeah, this is true. This confirms why I already don't like this person. Confirmation bias, this has to be true. And that's exactly what happens. Which is why it's really important to be able to know what kind of questions you should be asking when you're reading something online. Or better yet, don't participate in these kinds of communities and these kinds of discussions. It's really fucking weird. They want, yeah, no, people love virtue signaling until they actually have to start, like, putting their actions where they're trying to portray, like, on something that they're trying to signal that they agree with. For example, anti-bullying people mass harassing others. Anti-bullying people running a hate train towards other people. So is it okay because you thought it was justified, and you thought it was justified because of allegations and no concrete proof, therefore that you are now the harbinger of justice, and that you can decide whether or not it's morally okay to harass somebody else? In which case they would tell you, yeah, it's okay because, like, they did something bad, so I'm allowed to do something bad to them. What? Because, yeah, people aren't actually concerned. Like, the people that champion on that, they don't actually care about anti-bullying. They want a reason to be a dick, basically. But I think that's what a lot of people are obsessed with, is some level of, like, performatively being good, which is mentioned and discussed in Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. He has been known that shit. You bought that book? I hope you enjoy it. Making shit suck more because it sucked for you is genuine stupidity. I mean, yes, but I think people that constantly engage in these kinds of communities and, like, snark stuff is actually a reflection of ego. And doesn't everything always have a problem with ego? Like, when you look, there's so many issues with ego. Is one, does this person actually deserve the kind of hate and vitriol that you are encouraging by participating in these communities and reinforcing? Does this person deserve this kind of scrutiny for telling off photographers, for maybe making a distasteful joke that you didn't think was funny? If you answered no, then that means there's no justification for you to go out of your way to be negative, so negative about them, and interpret everything they do in bad faith. Yeah, which means that you have to admit, wait, maybe my opinion is wrong. Maybe I don't have to look at this person through this microscope with so much hatred. Because remember when the whole Fishgate incident happened, and I had people coming in here, and there was one guy that said, the fact that you're joking about it means you feel no remorse and that you are truly a fucked up person. Then somebody went and found that person's chat log in Asmongold's chat, where that specific person said, bring back slavery, we will make them labor until they die. So I don't remember exactly what they said in my chat, but they were basically insinuating that if you make jokes about something serious, you are a fucked up person. So I was like, okay, but you said this in this person's chat. about this, which absolutely applies to you. So then I asked them about it. I was like, can you explain this? They never responded, never said anything. I think they had no response for that level of cognitive dissonance that got pointed out to them. So they just run. They run away. Which is what they always do. Yeah, they always run away. Yeah, a lot of, I think a lot of guys, especially in the online space, is they do actually put, in a very Ben Shabibo way, they do like to pride on logic, on facts and logic. When you use that against them, they implode and they start to glitch out. Which is why when these people do come in this chat and I challenge them, they either run away, crash out. Yeah. That's what happens. Yeah, I had when the whole fish thing happened, there was a lot of guys in my DMs that were like, I'm going to cut off all your limbs and flush you down the toilet and see how you like that. I was like, so it's okay for you to say that because as a 10-year-old, I admitted to doing something that I think was really fucked up. So it's okay for you, so then now it's okay for you to tell another human being that you want to do that to them. This kind of like moral policing and then having that kind of reaction to it is very indicative of these people's cognitive ability. That's not a person with a moral compass. No, it's somebody using morality as a justification to basically induce harassment. Because one, there's a lot of people that don't like me. Like, I'm gonna use myself as a specific example, is there's people that don't like me, and what happens when content creators, when people don't like somebody, is they will look for reasons to not like them even more. So, like Pokey, for example. Do they, like, is it actually reasonable to hate on her for making her brother's wedding about her? Because that's really not the case at all. But will they still do it anyways? Yeah, absolutely, because they don't like her and they just want a reason to stick on. The Hassan dog collar incident is another one. I mean, yeah, I really don't think he was shocking his dogs. Like, at worst, it was a vibrating collar. Thanks, Sandy. He even showed a collar, yeah, and people were like, this is actually a modified shock collar. He took it out so that he could secretly Mortal Kombat zap his dog to keep him on stream for more views or something. I'm like, I really don't think he needs to keep his dog on stream for more views, but okay. That's kind of a crazy mental gymnastics. As you can clearly see, he reverse engineered it, yeah. It's very weird. I mean, there were some funny memes, I won't lie. The Mortal Kombat one for one. I don't know Deadlock. There's a couple moments where Kai yelped in pain. I'm pretty sure, like, sometimes dogs just bark. Like, I have had Yeon just bark randomly when nothing happened. Probably because there's somebody at the door or something, or he thinks somebody was at the door. But yeah, it's people will go out of their way to interpret everything that they want to in the worst way possible, just because they don't like you. And you ask them why do they not like you, is because the real answer is because they think you're kind of annoying. But you can't like tell people that and have them agree. You have to say, I don't like her because she kills puppies every weekend. They've never met diva dogs. Oh yeah. So you gotta like dress it up, you know? It's the art of persuasion. I don't like her because she kills puppies every weekend. Does she actually? Well, we don't know she doesn't. Are we gonna wait until she does? It's literally how some of these snark communities work. Like, this is their logic. Yeon spam ults the door all the time. When we first got him, because he was a rescue, he was pretty traumatized and he was terrified of men. And he would only like walk up and let himself be pet by girls, but women in the household. And then he never barked for the whole first year that we got him. He never made a sound. And then over time, he would make like a little so then at the door, because we trained him to, I think we trained him to bark at the door. I would have my dad walk up to the door and then he would make a little noise and then I would reward him for it. So now he barks at anybody at the door. Sometimes he's barking at ghosts because he thinks someone's there and no one's there. Thanks, Fabby. I think my alerts broke again. And thanks, Geo and Paul Atlantic. Yeah, and then now he just goes, ah! He's come out of his shell. It's been a long time. But you know, outside of the online sphere, this is something that happens in real life a lot too. And why you should absolutely have or learn to have scrutiny for how somebody presents somebody else to you. For example, is it fair for you to not like somebody just because this person said that they were a bitch? Then when you ask them, well, how were they a bitch? They didn't say hi to me at a party. Then you have to use your own personal judgment. Is this person really a bitch, or does this person is trying to go out of their way to make you dislike this person for another more nefarious reason? Or are they saying, hey, I would be careful around Bob because Bob is really touchy around girls at parties, and then you, wait a second, you also heard that about Bob from somebody else. And from somebody else, and these are all separate incidents. Like, yes, then you would be wary of Bob, correct? Fuck ass Bob. Like people forgot, moving on so fast. Well, I also wouldn't be surprised if there's like a lot of bot attacks because it's just like his political association. But also the it was mostly, I think it's also the fact that nothing really came out of it. As in, he still has a career, he still has a platform. Okay, then we'll try the next method of attack. In a much like smaller comparison, that's also what happens to me, is like when I get in some kind of controversy, the people that don't like me from previous controversies all jump in and have something to say. Like when I was fighting a pedophile on Twitter, you know, there were the VTuber stands that came and was like, she made fun of a girl for wanting to commit suicide. And I'm like, that's not what happened at all. But that's what people were saying because they were like, oh, I have a, you know, when you play a fighting game and then you can like have somebody just come in. That's what they do. They will like find these opportunities to latch on and just say some random shit because they think it will like get people on their side. And the side is, I don't like this person because I think they're kind of annoying. Yeah, third party tag teaming, basically. I remember one of the reasons somebody third party tag team was because they didn't like how I played Final Fantasy MMORPG. I forgot, I don't even remember what the controversy was, but it was unrelated. And somebody was like, I never liked that daph girl. She's a horrible person. She's so annoying because when she played Final Fantasy Online, she skipped through all the dialogue and she didn't care about the story. Which, by the way, when I played it multiple times, I have iterated, I don't care about the story when I play MMOs, I just like grinding and I like doing omni crafting. And I just do tons of crafting. And that's what I did. I did like hundreds of hours of crafting that I have no memory of. But somebody, you know, these kind of people will then go out of their way to find something that they don't like you for and then dress it up to try to convince other people to not like you for the same reasons. But it's like for the most nothing burger ever. Assuming that they didn't mislead people, which they sometimes will do. But when they actually are being rather truthful about it, you can see how fucking hilarious that is. Because they think that's a genuine reason to rally people to dislike somebody for. Which is so fucking funny. How do I deal with those accusations? I mean, it depends. Most of the time, it literally has no effect. But I think if somebody is like going out of their way to say, hey, daph is somebody who made fun of somebody for trying to commit suicide and like made light of their mental illness, then I'd be like, actually, that's not what happened. I'll tell you what happened. Blah, 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 blah. I explain. They got even more mad at me for explaining. Said, actually, we have proof. Posted the chat logs that actually proved what I was saying was what I was saying, and then got mad at me anyways. So you can kind of tell these people don't really have that cognitive thinking, they just want to be upset. The Poke unfollowed, that was what, 7 years ago? And I can tell you why. It was because a lot of people said some shit about her that I found out weren't true. Which is why I have such a... It's because I have... And now that's why I have like so much scrutiny towards that, because I knew exactly what it felt like to feel like you were justified in the prejudice that you had. Or might have had on somebody because of what people were saying and because of what like the gossip was, basically. And then in some ways that starts to line up with your confirmation bias of what was already being instilled into you. But and then it was like, it just felt to you at the time, it feels like, yeah, these people wouldn't lie to me. But that's also the complicated part, is that nobody was lying. It was just a lot of things interpreted in the worst way possible and then relayed to you very carelessly, and not realizing that if you relay something like this carelessly, you have to be aware of how this person is going to see this person from now on. Yeah, that's why it's so important to have that level of scrutiny, to be able to ask the right questions when somebody is trying to make you feel a certain way about somebody. But it's not to say that I didn't have a responsibility in thinking about that. Unfortunately, the downside is I was young, I was impressionable, I had no idea. And I wish that I did. But that's something that you grow up and you learn to do. You learn to be able to filter that people out. Because I'm glad that I learned that lesson early on so that I would never make that mistake now. And I am not okay with people that do that now, because I'm able to recognize when people are trying to do that. Yeah, because in the past few years, I've met people who are 30 or closer to 30, and they're still doing the same mistakes that I made when I was 21. And I'm like, no. No. Nah. Yeah, you say no to that. Grow your consciousness. If you're 30, you can't be acting like that. There's a lot of people that are 30 and they still act like that because they never had that. Or even if they like, let's say they had that Pokemon incident, but then years pass, instead of realizing, hey, maybe I was wrong in my prejudice, they double down. Because they don't want to admit that they're wrong. I have no problem admitting that I was wrong and that I was like biased and then I felt like I was justified in not liking her at the time. But a lot of people are very not okay with being honest with themselves because they don't want to admit that they were wrong. Yeah, because it hurts their ego. But I'm like, it's so much, I don't know. It's just, I think it's also because I'm such a, like, very logical person that if something goes against logic, I'm like, shit, you're right, I'm wrong. Like, fucking up logic to me has a higher priority than my ego. Because I'm like, no, this has to make sense logically. Okay, it doesn't make sense logically anymore, I'm wrong. Easy. People who are undergoing frontal lobe development, get in line, she's handing out answer sheets. But it's really easy. It's really easy to tell somebody, hey, you should be careful what people, like, the kind of rumors people say. It's really easy to be like, yeah, duh, you've been taught that your whole life. But when it gets harder is you have to confront all the different layers of how that affects somebody. Let's say you had a best friend who is trying to convince you to not be friends with your other best friend. And you like both of your best friends a lot. And now you have to question, is this person's intentions pure? Are they really saying it because they're looking out for me? Or are they saying it for other reasons that I don't understand and won't understand? Then you have to start questioning, do I want to still be friends with this person? What if they're lying to me? Why would a friend of mine lie to me? You know, stuff like that. It's way more complicated than don't just believe what you say. You have to really, really look inward and be like, is this somebody I want to be friends with? Is this somebody who has like good intentions for me? Is there something else, like an unknown factor that I don't know about? Thinking is not easy. It's not easy to think about stuff like that. But that's why it's hard. It's very easy to tell people, yeah, you should be careful around certain people, but how would you actually apply that? You don't really get a very like front seat lesson to that until it actually happens to you and you think about it and think about how you would have perceived it differently. I don't know what the fuck is this even talking about. You know, most of the woman friends and women that I know are way more cognitive than the men I know. The most gossipy people I ever knew in my life were men. It was 2 guys. And the stories that I have about that, especially one of them that I think is like a genuine piece of shit human being, that's a man. People with raging wolfhounds are usually room temperature IQ. No, this is true. Eris has also said this. That's a raging wolfhound usually means that they're room temperature IQ. Like, they're stupid as fuck. I wanted to add something here. Yeah, hide your raging wolf helms. I don't want to see that shit. Not that I even see. Actually, no, I do see them. Disgusting. Is it from Elden Ring? I don't know. But actually, you know, that guy's a really good example of a case study. That guy's a really, really good example of a case study. Nobody mentioned gender, and for some reason, this person felt like it was a valid thing to say that I was one of the 2% of women who had that thought, which could only mean, okay, not only is that thinly veiled misogyny, two, this means that this person doesn't have a lot of women in his life. Or even if they did have women in their life, they were never close enough with them where they had an introspective, deep discussion with the woman in his life. Which means that this person doesn't have a healthy relationship or a healthy attitude in women, which then go hand in hand with why they don't have women in their life. So if I say something like, did you know that women are happier alone and not in marriages that they're forced or pressured to be in? That then contributes to the male loneliness epidemic. Did you know that men actually overwhelmingly die alone? Much like they overwhelmingly die alone in hospitals and nursing homes? And then I would follow it up with, does the male loneliness epidemic concern you? And how they break down that question in their head and respond will be even more indicative of the attitudes that they have towards women. One of the things that I really enjoy and why you find that I often repeat this question a lot to certain types of, don't you have the male loneliness epidemic to worry about, is because it's a trick question. Is one, if they say yes, then they just admitted that they're a lonely loser. Two, if they say no, that means they're saying that it could imply that they're saying it doesn't exist, which then would directly contradict what they feel about how the shifting gender culture is, and that women don't need to depend on men, which means that they have to admit, oh wait, is there a male loneliness epidemic or not? If I say that it doesn't exist, and that means my struggles that I feel like are very real because women aren't giving me pussy isn't real. Like wait, but it does exist because I'm lonely. And then they combust, which is why it's a really good question for those types. Ace Attorney meltdown, yeah. LeBron is not open water scuba certified. Yeah, that means I'm better than LeBron. That's true. LeWashed. LeWashed. I really think it's no surprise that a lot of female content creators that I know and a lot of female streamers often lament behind the scenes, obviously they can't say this publicly, is how much they love a female demographic. Like, girl, I know, it's the best. I know so many girl streamers that are like, I guess they're like, oh my god, it's always like creepy men commenting, it's always creepy men in my chats, I should start saying I have a boyfriend so they leave me alone, and I'm like, girl, I don't know if that would make it worse for you, it's just fucking horrible. Yeah, I have a very one of my favorite stories. Okay, so it's not one of my favorite stories, but it's one of the stories that I've told before. I had a conversation with someone before that I was like, I can't believe people are having like creep shots of female streamers. Specifically, it was actually Lululemon. Not Lulu, sorry, Lulu Lovely. And she talked about how it's very disgusting that people will like compile creep shots of her standing up, turning around, whatever, and she voiced that she was very uncomfortable with all this and she did not like it. The amount of people that commented, you should be grateful there's still fans of you. What's wrong with appreciating a beautiful specimen, you know, stuff like that. And I was talking about this with someone, I'm like, this is like very disgusting behavior that female streamers have to deal with. And their response was, the guy I was talking about this with, I shit you not, said, sometimes I get mean comments too. People are just weird. It sucks. And I was like, I try to go like, yeah, but like the kind of mean comments you get are not usually like about sexualizing you in that manner, in such like it's like way past just regular harassment of saying you suck at a video game. And then I think they didn't really understand what I was saying. But yeah. That was weird. But what about moi? Yeah. It was very, very stinky. Very pee. I have to wake up early tomorrow. Short stream? No, I'll stream a little longer. Sorry, I've been life. Oh my god, I was crossing. I was walking, and then I walked past an old person who was walking kind of slow, and then it made me think of that one reel I saw that was like, when you, what is this? Speed mog an old person youth maxing. That's what I thought of when I was like, oh my god, I'm stuck behind them on the sidewalk. I'm gonna speed up a little bit so I can get in front of them. I was trying not to laugh. Agility max youth mog. Anyways, I have a lot of video ideas I want to make. I have to put together the rug tufting one. I've been working on that one. I have like 3 pages of text typed out for it for a voiceover. Then that could be my all-in-one referral for rug tufting stuff. Yeah, and then I also have more ideas for shorts. I have so many ideas for shorts. So many. Burnout? Never heard of her. Lack of inspiration? Never heard of her either. Art block? I don't know who that is. When it comes to creativity, like creative stuff, never felt that. Playing games, yeah, but I've never like stared at a blank canvas not knowing what to draw in my life. Scary shorts. Me when I looked up scary shorts on YouTube and I just found a pair of shorts with skulls and lightning on them, and then I took a screenshot and I showed Chad. It was so fucking funny. Ah! Oh yeah, actually, look, I made this today with the kids. I made a little keychain. I made it pink and blue and white. It's kind of Sylveon coded. Again, then it's like with string. You have kids? No, I don't have kids. I occasionally might work with kids. And they're fucking hilarious. Please do not tell them about the Germa song that I've been singing in the past. Contract any worms? No. I had no physical contact with any of the kids, thank God. Like, do not fucking touch me. You're gonna give me ass worms. I don't want ass worms. Do not fucking... we will arm's length away from each other. Wait, Hyun, I don't know if you're here. I told a really funny story about one of the kids earlier. There was a kid that was banging on the window upstairs, and one of the senior staff was like, "What are you doing?" Then he stopped, put his hand down, and then like stood kind of like off by himself by the wall. And then he did this. Let me find it. Why is it not loading? So he got asked to stop banging on the window. Well, he didn't even ask. The staff just said, "What are you doing?" Like that. Then the kid walked off by himself to this little corner of wall, and he did this. This is what the kid did. And then I saw a tear roll down his face, and the staff was like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, and then the staff has, "Are you gonna be okay?" And he goes, "Yeah." I was trying so hard not to laugh. He didn't even get asked to stop banging on the window. No, the staff was really like, "I just asked you what you were doing." And then he did. God, they're so funny. I think they're like 6. I think that kid was like 6 or something. Yeah. Christ. He looks so sad. Do I like kids? I mean, I've always said this. I think kids are fucking hilarious. So that was the worst thing that happened to him in months. Oh, poor kid. Thanks, Joppy. That staff that was there was so funny. He was also playing foosball with one of the kids. And he was not holding back, and then he you know how on the opposite ends of the foosball table you have like the point counter, and he was just moving it, and it was like 7-0, and then I was like, "No way you're keeping score, dude." It was really fun. No freebies. Well, I hope I could maybe help with tutoring when they get back in school, because it's spring break right now. Or probably do like arts and crafts related stuff. Cause I'm also good at I'm good at knowledge, and I'm good at art, and I'm good at tech. Will I go find Cthulhu? I mean, if Cthulhu is only 40 feet deep in the water, yeah. Where's he at? I don't know, he's probably busy. I didn't swear at all, by the way. I didn't even say God. I said gosh and goodness. I was really, really good. I didn't even say blind. I was just really strict. I was strict with myself. Code switching is for gangster. Oh, am I a gangster? I code switch with the kids. When you're a gangster, but you believe in karma, so you teach kids how to draw after robbing a bank. That's true. I robbed Nestle. I stole all their Kit Kat. The fucking, what's it called? The fucking, you gotta like find shit in the little drawing, and you like color it in and shit, and then you cross it out. What's that called? Like a, it's not an I Spy is like a franchise. No, it wasn't a color book. It was like you find it. No, it wasn't a spot the difference. It was just like one picture, and then these are the things you have to find, and they're hidden in the picture. And then you color it in. Hidden objects, yeah, whatever. It's some hidden object shit. That shit got me fucked up. I was like, no way, me, a grown-ass 27-year-old adult with special eyes, I'm getting fucking vision mogged by the youth mogging kids. I could not fucking find more than like 3, and there was like 10, and this other kid found like 5, and I'm like, that's when I was like, am I fucking blind? But obviously what I said was, this is really hard. Wow, you're doing so much better than I am. Me internally, what the fuck? I can't see shit. I'm 27, uncle. Oh, you're too old to, or you're too young to be here. Maybe I recommend you a different stream like Jason Lewin. Sorry, we only like older, we'd like an older crowd here because we like people with developed frontal lobes. So that they can actually understand what I'm talking about when I talk about the themes and the morality and the message to be learned in Dostoevsky's work and parallels between Dark Souls 2, health hollowing mechanic, and the allegory of the cave. But actually, that reminds me, there was another senior staff there. And when I say senior staff, I don't mean like they're seniors. It's like they've been working there for a while. This girl was 20, and even before she told me her age, just from how she talked, I could tell she was significantly younger than me. And that made me think, how the fuck are there people who are 30 dating people that just turned 20? The moment they open their mouth, the disconnect is massive. But they don't be talking. They are not talking. I mean, I guess even if they are, I don't really know what they're talking about. I was like, like, I don't think I would ever be able to connect on a deeper level with somebody that I feel that disconnect with, and it happens a lot with people that are quite younger. Tobey Maguire dated 20-year-old while his daughter's 19? Yeah, that is just weird, dude. That's weird, dude. I don't know if I like this outline. I think I'm not gonna use the outline. Yeah, the moment I get a whiff that somebody I'm talking to is stupid, I get really resentful and like just annoyed, and then I don't want to be near them anymore. Unless it's like a friend, but like I'm talking about like romantically, this is what happened with the guy that I used to refer to as Mr. Flirt. He should be more like Mr. Dumb fuck. What specifically happened with him was the more he opened his mouth, the more fucking annoyed I got, to the point that I was barely even speaking right before the point of me saying, I don't think I ever want to see you again. Or I said, oh, okay, I said it nicer. I was like, I don't think we're gonna see each other again after this. I was fucking annoyed that it's just the disconnect. This isn't Surfer Dude. Nightwing? Sorry, I have like nicknames for random men. There's a guy that I refer to as Nightwing. No, this is not Nightwing. The Nightwing that I know is somebody that does like slacklining and surfing and scuba diving and personal training and a bunch of stuff. Does he have a great ass? He definitely does. I mean, if you're that physically fit, which reminds me, my ass looked so fat in a still of a video I was recording for rug tufting, and I could not believe that was my ass. I showed Hyun because I was in that much disbelief, but I'm pretty sure it was just like the angle, and I was like leaning forward. I was like, there's no way that's my ass. It was crazy. These squats are fucking insane, by the way. Like that shit, I went from having no ass to having an ass fat enough to be slapped and having a ripple. Like, the squats, the barbell squats, the Bulgarian split squats, oh my goodness. I'm telling you, they were not lying about that shit. You really can go from having no ass to having ass that can jiggle and be slapped. Like, trust me. Yes, Bulgarian split squats will make you want to kill yourself, but that's the pain. It's the pain. It feels good. Any skinny girl big ass phase. I still have way broader shoulders though. One time you're walking around normally, you felt your ass jiggle, you had to pause for a second, like, okay. That's how I felt when I looked at the rug tufting, like a little section of it that I filmed, and I was like, that's my ass? Oh, okay. Wait a minute. I mean, it's no cyan ass, but I mean, that is a divine ass, like blessed from the heavens ass. Thanks, Basil. I hope you had a good stream. Oops. I'll start silent. I'll continue Silent Hill at 12. I'm just kind of yapping. Do the pencil test under my butt cheeks? Oh, easily. Easy. Excuse me. Or do the pencil after you put it in your ass. Like a bag of holding. I'm gonna add something here. Yeah, inventory space. Any tips where to start with art? Yeah, probably Google and YouTube. Dude, if my 10-year-old self could figure it out, you can too. I guess I could add like waves and dots. That's kind of what they did to fill the space. Watching clips tonight? I don't know because I have to wake up really early. Because I have things to do with friends. Oh, I'm sorry. I just keep going outside and touching grass and seeing what the world has to offer. I don't like to stay on the computer screen. I'm better than you. So much better. My life is better than yours. Let me explain. I was trying to channel this energy. Where'd it go? Was it like the people? It was like people that drink matcha. Oh my god, I saved so many. Oh, I found it.
And I'm better than you. I love myself. And I love my life. I deserve a little matcha latte because I have a little drama. I'm so
That's
mysterious, healthy, and I'm better than you.
I'm better than you. I go outside. I don't like the computer screen. Well, I have a bunch of random reels I did save, but I want to let me figure out what I want to put in the corner yet first. You hate matcha drinkers? I drink matcha because 1, it's not as strong as a coffee. 2, it's not too sweet. 3, I like it with oat milk. 4, I've liked matcha since I was a kid because that shit has been an Asian dessert since the dawn of time before people fucking gentrified the price. At least it's more available everywhere, I guess. Oh, it's a Starbucks? Oh, hell no. I have not stepped foot in a Starbucks in like 4 years other than to take a shit that one time 2 years ago. Yeah, the last time I stepped foot in Starbucks was specifically to take a massive shit. And then I left right after. Well, actually, I took a shit, and then my ex also took a shit right after me, and then we left. So it was, we had 2 dookies there. The boycott. And then we yelled free Palantine. That was pretty funny. Girl, I'm not gonna nobody should be canceled for working at Starbucks. The fucking economy, the job availability. It's also not like you're specifically trying to kill kids. Yeah, I mean, are you the CEO of Starbucks? Probably not. The way they're mad at grunt workers, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if some, like, terminally angry Twitter users are, but that's just how they always are, so, like, realistically... No. There was a fucking kind of almost would have been a massive oopsie, but obviously I would never let that happen until it does accidentally happen because I let it slip, which would still be my fault. I almost agreed to do something and then I found out that there was like AI associated with it, and then I immediately was like, no, no! Set the whole thing on fire! No, no! Then bombed their office. Oh, actually, it wasn't related to a game. But I was like, I assumed that it wouldn't, and then I looked it up. I was like, oh my god, I'm so glad I did. That would have been such a sad mistake. Who was it, girl? I'm not saying. But I think I'll have my Ditto rug finished this week and then do the giveaway for it probably on... Maybe on... Wednesday? One Piece. I'm not into the One Piece card thing because I don't know One Piece. I've not seen a Ditto bag, but I saw somebody bought 200 Dittos from the Pokemon Center website because they were marked as $0 through an error, and then they got banned. But they did receive their 200 Dittos. I don't know if it's real though, but it looked funny. The person packing that order, like, no, I mean, you have a limit of 2, there's order limits. Whoever packed that was definitely like, this not normally. No, that's not normaling. Hey. How's the MTG? Well, I haven't played because the people that I played with and borrowed decks from, namely Peter, but then also I played with Skara before, they have been busy jacking off in World of Warcraft. And then I got busy with scuba diving. They started going like, sorry, I have to play World of Warcraft. And I said, okay, fuck you. And then I went in the ocean. Time to roll orc. I like the one I actually really like the Warhammer deck because I was just making starts and then they would all get like powered up and then they would also have that one thing where they're just like always ready. I was like, and I give birth to another start, and I give birth to another start, and I give birth to another start. Wait, I think I won. Yeah, that time I won. Japan IKEA is having a collab with Pokopia. They always get everything. I don't care if something good happened to them. I wish it happened to me instead. There's a Puma Pokemon collab. They got shoes and jackets or something. Yeah. There was this agency, Instagram agency messaging me like fiending for my address and everything, and I was like, no, because I have my own agency or agents, and it just made me think of the scam emails some female streamers got that they were claiming to be from Gymshark, and they're like, okay, I need you to take a picture with your ass out, bent over, and you need to measure, like, we have to see your full frontal, your back, bent over. I need to see like your waist measurement, your ass measurements, and like to make sure we send you the correct size. I was like, that's what it made me think of. It was crazy. I need you to send me a picture with your pussy out. Are those common practices? I would hope nobody fell for it, but you never know with like some really naive, impressionable, like small streamer might. Unfortunately. I like this shimmer. A lot of stuff you take any opportunity to get. Yeah, and then there's a lot of predatory managers or agents that will like... I'm gonna be honest, if you have less than... I don't think you need a manager or... I mean, a manager... Okay, so a manager and an agent are different. I don't think you need a manager at all if you have under, like, 1,000 viewers. I think manager... I really don't think you need one at all. Because they're just gonna take a massive cut of your money for fuck all. Like, they're just filling out a Google Calendar for you. What? I've never had a manager and I didn't need one. You just find you find them. It depends. Some of them have like etiquette around poaching, or like not poaching. But some people also have like an agent and manager in one. Yeah, by the way, my fee is 60%. No. But maybe they'll end up like Ninja. Wasn't she her manager after she became his wife? I mean, I don't know. And then she quit. I don't know if if Ninja's still around. That sounds like a pain. I don't think I would ever want a significant other to be so involved in professional work I do. My braless wife. I guess, yeah. Too busy owning bot lane. I think the funniest thing was Ninja code switching when he was talking to a black man. That was a few years ago, right? He went from basically talking like, hey, I'm going to get the slurp juice to, we can't be calling them bitches, or what did he say? He's like, them bitches not be something something. Yeah, he said like, he just, he did not speak like that. He just suddenly went like, you can't be something them bitches, man. It was like, what? What the fuck? I think that was the funniest part of the whole thing. Put a little leaf or something. It's been that long? It's been a while. I don't even remember why did they even have an issue? I do remember noticing, when they did clear it up, everybody praised Gideon, but not Pokey. They were all like, Gideon's the king of squashing beef. I'm like, you know it goes both ways. Anyways, whatever, man, whatever. It's just another day. COVID era was such a blur. The only thing I remember was Among Us. I didn't even remember that much Animal Crossing. It didn't. It was kind of whatever. Ever seeing daph hit her villagers? Yeah, I did. I built a barbed wire fence around one of the villagers I thought was fucking ugly to try to get her to move out. I remember she was some stupid cow. And then I went to Avira's island, stole her clown, and then never played it again. I was up to no good. It's true. People played Among Us like their kid's life was on the line. People watch their streamers play Among Us like their life was on the line. When I remember the amount of fucking butthurt people that I had coming in my chat because I successfully clocked the shit out of Charlie and Jacksepticeye on a game that in a lobby that I was in, which by the way is because I'm incredibly smart, which is why they always kill me. And they were like, she has to be cheating. There's no way she would have known. I'm like, there's no way that you would logically do this and do that and then try to say this. I'm like, it just didn't make sense. Please. But yeah, they got fucking mad. Like, they were fucking pissed. And then I went to his VOD at the time. Yeah, that copy pasta was actually an unironic message from that time. And then when I went back to the VOD to like see what people's reaction were, because I was like, haha, I got it. It was the chat going like, she's cheating, she's watching her stream, I fucking hate that bitch. And then I was like, oh, so this is the community. Oh, okay, interesting. Anyways, I'm good. Yeah, I fucking clocked the shit out of him. My bad. Oh, that looks much nicer. I like that. I'm gonna change the shape though. But there was actually, it was also because there was a specific thing that I do remember Jacksepticeye did, was what you do as imposter is you show up at some given moment, like any given moment, and just like touch base with some people who are known to be innocent, and then you like leave, or you leave beforehand and then touch base. Then you can say for the entire round, I was with XYZ, but it doesn't account for what you were doing before and after, which is exactly why he did and exactly why I suspected him, because I knew he was missing before. And that's why, that was one of the reasons why I called him out. But of course, I was too smart for my own good, can I say? She has omnipotence. How do I remember all this? Because I don't forget how I felt about something. If you ask me why I don't like somebody, I can give you a 5-paragraph dissertation about I remember this, because it has to make sense in my mind. If it doesn't make sense in my mind, it's discarded. Because I'm too logical. Yeah, it's just like, I have to know, I have to remember why. If I don't remember why, then why would I feel that way? Is it justified? Is it okay? Is it reasonable? A lot of questions. It's like doing regular system checks. A lot of people feel a lot of guilt. Yeah, I always ask myself why I feel a certain way. So I think it's very important to be able to do that. So you don't end up being the person that's telling everybody that Becky's a bitch just because you felt snubbed that she didn't say hi to you at a party, so now you made it a life mission to make sure everybody thinks she's crazy, even though she didn't actually do anything. Which happens a lot. And I think people that go out of their way to do that really need to check themselves. It really pisses me off. Bigger? Bigger bush. How did it ignore why they feel a certain way about things? Yeah, because it means asking difficult questions that you have to confront a part of yourself that you don't like. Like, for example, I had a friend who was in denial that another friend was sabotaging her. And she made so many excuses, like, maybe it was miscommunication, maybe I wronged her, and then she was like frantically checking every single message she ever had with her and anybody that was involved, anybody that they talked. She literally went through everything. And the only thing that she found was... she found fuck all, basically. Like, nothing. And then she was just really confused and hurt. And then come to find out that this girl was telling other people that she was just talking shit about people that she was not talking shit about. And that's why she was also pouring through her messages to try to find if she did that, because she couldn't even... she was getting gaslit, more or less. She was like, did I, like, talk shit about somebody and not remember it? And she was... I basically, like, watched her go through that. Like, she was not coming to the terms like, hey, I think this person was never your friend. I think everything that they ever did with you, they secretly hated you. Is, yes, maybe outwardly, on the surface level, they were besties with you, but I don't think they ever liked you. And it was really sad. Yeah, I do think the... I mean, I didn't know these people... like, I didn't know the person that... obviously, the girl was my friend, but I didn't know the other person that well. But I think it really was, like, a jealousy thing, because... there were some comments that they mentioned that this person said to, like, another girl, too, that they were like... oh, that, like, you shouldn't stream because streamers don't like OnlyFans girls. And then I was like, why would a friend tell you this? Instead of encouraging you to try something new that you are passionate about. I was like, What you mean by that? That's like if Hyun wanted to get into rug tufting and I said, I don't think you should get into rug tufting. I don't want your hands to get rugged like mine. You want to have nice, delicate hands. Don't get into rug tufting. But the like secretly nefarious purposes. Yeah, it's like that happened to you with Stream by someone. Yeah, it actually reminded me of that. Yeah, but Hyun also had a specific incident of somebody saying that to her. They were like, I don't think you should stream. I think you should focus on art. It's like, but you can actually stream your art. But for something like this, it's like, why would you do anything but why would you like not encourage your friend to do something so harmless and like so cute and fun? It's not like they're going bungee jumping, or it's not like they're doing anything crazy. It's just streaming. Like, damn. There is no harm in that. Why would you then discourage them? You can do art and stream? Yeah, but I was like, that's kind of a really stinky thing to... Pee. Pee. Thankfully, I've never had any friends like that. That was like trying to sabotage me. My weirdest encounter with friends that I've noticed a common pattern is that they were like, they would say things and basically put up a persona that weren't really who they were. So a very specific example was like, they would say something like, oh, I don't like streamer spaces, I hate partying, I hate like being involved in LA people, and then every week going out partying with the LA people, making sure that they're like hanging out with tons of streamers and whatever. I'm like, okay, I mean, maybe they changed their mind, but it just, this was like a reoccurring thing that I noticed would happen with some people that I ended up like having such a disconnect with that I'm not friends with anymore. And I'm like, why did you like try to build a rapport with me by establishing that we had this kind of common opinion on this bubble and this culture? You clearly don't actually feel the same. Yeah, it's performative, and I really don't like that, because I actually would much prefer and respect somebody more who just said, actually, I like partying and I like hanging out with like influencers and stuff because most of them are really nice. Personally, I don't like the partying and whatever, and I don't really like these spaces. But if you like it, that's fine. I'm not gonna think of you any less. I will think of you less for pretending like you feel the same way as me, presenting it to me, and then actually not feeling that way at all. It's not even like they compartmentalize a part of them that keep to that. It's that they're completely presenting a falsified version of themselves because they want to be liked by as many people as possible. Which I'm like, the moment I notice, I'm like, that's not you. That is not you. And you're not a genuine person. Yeah, farming likes RL. Which I'm like, why? Yeah. That's weird. I think it takes a certain level of strength to be able, like, to say, you know, if people are like, yeah, I don't really like this, and this, and then to have strength to say, actually, I like it, but I understand why you don't, but for me, part of it is that blah, 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 you know? But some people, when it comes to it being like a core part of their personality, are incapable of doing that and just kind of just go with it. And like, that's not who you are. I don't think you should try to be somebody else just to have likes IRL. It's weird. This disingenuity slips through the cracks. Ingenuity. Yeah, it's actually really interesting to talk to somebody who has a different lifestyle and opinion and preferences as you. Like, getting to know somebody who is really, really into rave culture, for example, because I'm not. I'm like, I would really want to know more about it. I'm like, what do you like about it? Because I've tried it, I didn't like it, but I want to know, like, what you like. I want you to talk about your experiences. I want to know what it's like to live a life so differently from mine. So if, like, personally, I just find having those kinds of agreeable differences that people are honest about so much more interesting than if somebody is trying to, like, pretend to be similar to you to establish rapport, because I don't feel like that's a genuine way to establish rapport with people. I think it's a very, like, juvenile way. I don't know, it's just not... Yeah, I think a lot of it is kind of insecurity too. Because you're not confident in who you are, and you feel like to make somebody like you, you have to be less of who you are and more of who they are. But then if they come across a raid boss like me, I'm gonna see, and then I'm gonna be like, when you walk in a room with me and a fog door appears. Everybody that knows me personally will say that I'm actually the least intimidating person ever. People that don't know me do tend to say that I'm intimidating and scary. But that's also because I don't really mince my words. And I don't mean it in like a, hey, Becky, I think your shirt looks like shit kind of way. But it's more so, if something happens, like let's say something serious, I'm not afraid to immediately be like, hey, I don't like that, you said this, and reacted this way, and I'm going to talk to you directly about it instead of talking around it and talking it through people. I'm going to tell you directly. So that makes a lot of people, like, I think what happens personally, without being too specific, they're afraid to step on my toes, or so to speak, because I will just be straight up with them, like, this was not okay. And what I've noticed in the streamer scene specifically, maybe you'll find some parallels with certain friend groups and certain like bubbles, is when you come across, like they tend to be very non-confrontational because they don't want to disturb the peace. So it's very important to maintain some kind of status quo, because with streamer relationships specifically, it's very fragile. One person gets canceled for maybe they farted too much, and then like let's say there's a massive online backlash, everybody cuts them off because that's just how the industry is. It's reputation, it's how other people will get involved, it's how the public perception gets involved. So naturally, this also breeds a kind of non-confrontationalness that happens, that people, when they have issues with others, just don't really say anything ever and let it bubble up and eventually come to resentment. Then you factor in the other uncertainty issues of objectivity of the nature of the work. It's very number-based, it's very objectifying. You factor in insecurity, jealousy. I don't like this person because they're doing better than me. I have some resentment for that, blah, blah, blah. You put all that together in, you have just this like melting pot of people who don't really know how to communicate, or if they should communicate how they feel at all. However, I do not operate in that way because I do not really care much about maintaining some kind of social hierarchical status quo. Because if something is bothering me, I will literally just go directly to the person that's bothering me and say, hey, I have an issue with this because of this. And what was very frustrating with this, unfortunately, is one, I obviously have a very kind of like grating, aggressive personality. Not so much in a way that I'm like purposely trying to instigate, but more so because the standard of what is considered instigative is very, very low. Like if you say, I didn't like how they were acting at karaoke or something. Oh my god, you don't like them? Yo, hey, this person was talking shit. I bet this person was... So what happens if you then message someone directly? I don't like that you did this because of this, but I wanted to let you know this. Boom, you are a massive fucking cunt and you should kill yourself. Which is basically what they think you're saying. Because they're so used to very, very gentle ways of speaking and very roundabout, indirect ways of going like, there's an issue. If mentioned at all. Like, this is assuming that it actually gets to the point of like, hey, we should talk about this. And naturally, I will, in these personalities, come across as someone incredibly grating. And what was really frustrating for someone like me to be in these spaces is people will say that they hate having their actions interpreted in the worst way possible in bad faith by people online, but then interpret me that way. I'm going to use myself as a specific example, but this applies generally. I will go and say directly to the person, hey, this is an issue. Obviously, I'm not like inflammatory. I'm very direct and very professional with how, if I have an issue, to bring it up. I say, hey, this is an issue with this. I just want you to let you know, blah, blah, blah. The same people who say that they do not like their actions being interpreted in the worst manner possible would then interpret me in the worst manner possible and not see how they have this direct hypocrisy in their actions and perceiving somebody else's actions. When I noticed that this was a very common thing that was happening in this space, made me significantly distance myself and realize that these are not the people I would want to go out of my way to be friends with. I will never have interpersonal relationships with these people because we are so different in how we are, in personality, and how grounded we are, and how we communicate. And it's very unfortunate. Because I feel like as an adult, you should definitely know that there are some things that you do not take personally. It's just how things are. When there is an issue that somebody is confronting you directly in a polite and professional manner, you do not assume that they're trying to purposely stir shit. Because have they ever given you a reason to believe that? No. It was really annoying. Like, I'm like, we are all closer to being 30 years old than 20. We can talk about things directly. There's no reason for me to have to like say 10 nice things before I say the one thing that I want to say that's slightly not nice. But it isn't even not nice in a way that I think your pussy stinks. It's more like, hey, this thing we should address. Really, really frustrating, really tiring. I get along better with people that are more grounded in reality and actually have more connections and experiences with life outside of an online bubble. That's my conclusion in it. But it's not to say that I think there's anything inherently wrong with these kinds of bubbles. It's more so that I personally disagree with it because I cannot get along with these kinds of people. I find it hard to get along with them, and I will never be close friends with them because there's such a massive gap in how we communicate, how we see the world, how we introspect. Because if I don't like my actions being interpreted in the worst manner possible, I'm not going to interpret somebody else's words in the worst manner possible either. which for some reason is a massive blind spot for some people that I have encountered. Which I'm like, do you even realize what you're, like, did you notice this about yourself? Probably not. They're not living in the same world as normal people? Yeah, I think so too. I think specifically with the streamer bubble is, you're surrounded by a lot of sycophancy. You're surrounded by sycophants. You're inherently in a very objectifying career where numbers mean everything. People will treat you differently based on how well you do. And how much money you get, how much clout you have. You are not going to feel a lot of pushback, and then when you do finally feel some level of a pushback or some level of confrontation, what do? You freak out and you run. And because you have never really learned to deal with that, you've never really learned to communicate like an adult, where people are just very upfront. Because I have had the exact same cadence that I have had, like, I've had an issue with somebody, I have talked to them in the exact same way, and like very straightforward, very direct, never an issue with a non-streamer. Like, or somebody that's outside of the streamer bubble. Somebody that has real world experiences, deals with people working real jobs, people that are like outside of this kind of social media bubble and outside of this like social sycophancy. All very normal, very happy, easy to communicate, straight to the point. They communicate the same way. There's an issue, let's figure it out. Boom, done, good. With some streamers, issue, I tell them, oh my god, she hates me, I don't understand, like, this blah blah blah, and then on my end, I'm like, I thought it was resolved. On their end, oh my god, like, a couple months, like, a year ago, like, this happened, and, like, it made me really this, and it was blah blah blah. All the meanwhile, I haven't even thought about it because I thought it was dealt with. I didn't know that they were still, like, there were people who were still bringing it up, using it as some kind of, like, confirmation bias to fuel some level of prejudice that they had about me. And then I was just, like, really confused, and I'm like, was this not resolved? Turns out it wasn't in their mind. It was really, it was just kind of okay, I can see why there are people that I find very difficult to get along with. Because we are so fundamentally different, and I really don't like being in a bubble. Which is why I go out of my way to volunteer, because I need to see what the real world is like, because I don't ever want to be in a situation where I am so incredibly out of touch that I have a fucked up perception of the world and the people around me. But that's just me though. If you want to live in that bubble, like, that's fine, but I don't want to. But yeah. It's just, it is definitely frustrating. The Artemis launch on Wednesday to go around the moon? Wait, I didn't know that was happening. Are they streaming it? I don't know that many VTubers. I know, like, I'm like personal friends with less than like 5 VTubers, but I don't really know the culture, so I don't know that well. But I think, but overall about this whole thing is I really, really don't like coddling and people who are coddled. I think to grow and mature as an adult is you have to be defiant to being coddled. Otherwise, you will never change or grow as a person because you are so used to people blowing smoke up your ass constantly. If you have no adversity or ever have to face any adversity, what kind of introspection are you ever going to do? Probably none. I really don't like having to jack off people to get a point across, and I've noticed that streamers, a lot of streamers, not all, but definitely, streamers tend to need to be spoken to in a manner that requires said jacking off before getting to the point. Otherwise, they get really scared. And I'm like, why are you scared? I'm just talking to you directly like a normal adult would. oh, you don't really talk to normal adults. That makes a lot of sense. Or like, you don't talk to a lot of normal adults that aren't working for you. It's not good. But there's this new girlfriend I made from like a few months ago, and when she was driving me home, she was like, yeah, there was a couple months ago I went to this like TikToker party and everybody there was so horrible that when I got home I immediately wanted to look up volunteering to do in the area. And then I was like, girl, that's so valid. You can come with me. I was like, okay, it's definitely not like a vacuum streamer thing. It is kind of there's a bit of a pattern to be noticed in content creator spaces because it's a lot of young rich people and egos. Thanks, Bashby. Do you have multiple ways to talk to people naturally? Yeah, I go volunteering regularly. I have so many different friend groups that I can't even ever imagine them mixing. They're all so different. And it's actually so fulfilling to be able to go out and talk to people in such a different lifestyle and have genuine curiosity and wanting their well-being. Like wanting to know about their well-being and wanting their well-being to be good. When you limit yourself from that and you don't go out of your way to seek that and you're comfortable sitting in a room of very egotistical, young, rich people, you start to think that's normal and you start to think that it's okay to talk about certain topics with these people in the way that you do. Then what happens when you remove yourself from that bubble and you talk to people outside? You're gonna be so out of place. You're not gonna know how to respond. You're gonna feel threatened. You're confused. Why are people not super nice? You know, I feel like that's a level of grounded reality that everybody needs. And generally though, most of you won't need this because you live a much more normal life outside of like the rich LA influencer bubble. But it's not to say that that doesn't still happen, because you definitely will hang out with people that are like, oh, I can't confront anything. I'm just gonna talk around it. Oh, I have an issue with this person and this person. Well, did you talk to them about it? Well, I can't, but like, but I'm gonna complain about it nonstop. You know? Yeah. But I think, like, all in all, I have to bring out the Twitter accent. It's not to say that streamers are horrible people, but I think it's the nature of the work that will naturally drive a lot of people in this space to be out of touch. And very out of touch with how people talk, how people communicate, and their worldview. And why would anybody like want to go out of their way to hang out with somebody that is just completely separated from the bubble? Like, how would you, if you are in this bubble, go about finding people outside of that bubble? It's hard. So you have to go out of your way to find this kind of different enrichment, like community enrichment. Because I still think, like, when people make, you know, clickbait news articles or videos of like, oh, streamers are horrible people, it's not true. I could name like 10 amazing streamers that are like, have genuinely good hearts and are good-natured people for every like pedophile that was revealed to be a streamer, or like a streamer revealed to be a pedophile. Because they are behind the scenes, a lot of them are like really nice. But there's definitely attitudes and just overall lifestyle that drive them to be out of touch. And I find that very hard to get along with because I really don't like the idea of complacency in being out of touch in that bubble. Look, pedophile turned out to be a streamer. Oh no. Maybe yeah, fake people have more friends? I don't really think that matters. So let me dissect that question down for you. Is why do you ask this question? Why does it matter whether or not a fake person has friends? Is it because you want to determine if a fake person has more friends, it's worth it being fake? Are you looking at it from a purely logistical min-maxing point of view? But that's why I don't think that question matters, because what matters is how genuine you are as a person, the people that you should attract for you being you. If having more friends just for the sake of having more friends is what is important to you, then I think there's some like evaluating to do there, because how far are you willing to kind of betray who you are as a person just to have more friends for the sake of having more friends? That's why I'm like, does this question really matter? I don't think so. But also you would have to then define who's a real friend and who isn't. But almost anybody you ask would always say that having 3 really, really good friends is better than having 10 okay friends who are more like colleagues or something. Is an outline? No. Excuse me. Kitty. I'm gonna go play some Silent Hill. Do I have any snacks? I think I have more chocolate. Mmm.